Hello, friends. I am Jaime Elizondo from Real World Ranching, where our goal is to help you achieve maximum productivity while improving your land the fastest. We want to be better. We want to be world class in how we regenerate the land while we obtain maximum profitability, productivity, and increase our biological capital. To be able to do this, we need to know certain basic definitions, especially how forest plants grow and what helps them be more vigorous. We also need to understand that new seedlings require sunlight and time to establish as if a cow, goat, or sheep comes and grazes them, they will be pulled with roots and all out of the ground, creating patches of bare soil. And you may think, what does this have to do with the way we manage our livestock grazing? First, we need to agree that our livestock can select their diet, and if allowed, they will only consume the best forest species and reject the less desirable forest species. This changes the composition in our grassland to more non-desirable species and less desirable species. This means we are losing individuals of the best forest species, and they are being replaced with less desirable forest species or even shrubs and invasive species. All of this has to do with humus, which was high in our soils around 120 years ago, and now it has been consumed by bad management or by erosion. Whatever the cause, this means our soils are not capable, for the most part, of sustaining a high quality composition of desirable species like what our ancestors found when settling America. Basic plant physiology tells us that green leaves produce energy through photosynthesis, while stems consume energy by respiring. The difference between energy created in green leaves less the energy consumed in stems is what can be used for plant productivity and for energy reserves in crown and roots. The best type of grazing management to increase the ratio of green leaves to stems is described in the Total Grazing program, where we avoid regrazing a plant before it has fully recovered, as we want to have vigorous plants with good leaf-to-stem ratio and deep and fat roots to hold the soil together. Now, let's consider how nature functioned before man came in the picture. There were large herds of herbivores in the land under the predator effect, which kept them close together, but they had the option to migrate if the grass quality or quantity was low. But did you know that half of them in body weight was composed of huge hindgut fermenters? Hindgut fermenters like zebra, elephant, rhino, hippo, mastodon, mammoth, wild horses, and burros. Donkeys. Hindgut fermenters have the advantage over ruminants that they have a faster passage of the forage through their digestive system, which means they can maintain their good body condition on forages where a ruminant will starve. Interesting? Much, because before man hunted them to extinction, they were the ones that accomplished a total grazing together with the myriad of ruminant species in large herds and migration. This can still be observed in the Okavango Delta in Botswana, Africa. Now, we do not have those large hindgut fermenters, herbivores anymore to manage the land, and we certainly cannot allow our livestock to migrate to better pastures when the plants stop growing in winter or dry season. What we can do, and we are doing, is to emulate nature. But before man came, as after man appeared and hunted the large megafauna to extinction, much more residuals started to be left in the ground, as ruminants cannot digest fiber if the total dry matter protein of the intake percentage is lower than 7 to 8% on a dry matter basis. This huge residue in our savanna-type ecosystems created a wildfire hazard, the same that we have every late summer in California and in all Mediterranean environments like Greece, Portugal, Spain, France, Italy. And if you look at a video of the Okavango Delta in Botswana, Africa, you will see that when there is a fire in their dry season, the flames are very short, very small, and animals do not flee as it does not become a wildfire from the lack of combustible material. That is how nature designed it. We can see, if we observe and research and ask the right questions, that after humans made these large hang-gut fermenters extinct, they had to start burning to prevent wildfires and lure the migrating herds to come near their territories. Now, combine the knowledge of the role of the hang-gut fermenters in achieving a complete or total graze, where very little residual was left to catch fire, and basic plant physiology, where we can see that plants create a better leaf-to-stem ratio in the regrowth when the stems are consumed along or together with the green leaves, and things start to sound logical. When we graze with the ruminant species, we need to emulate what all those extinct species of large hang-gut fermenters, along with huge herds of ruminants, achieved. A total graze which benefits the plants and creates much more humus than any other grazing program. This means we need to do with one domesticated ruminant species the work that was done by hang-gut fermenters and ruminants that could migrate. To do this successfully, we need to breed our livestock animals in a way that will enable them to accomplish the same as nature accomplished 20 or more thousand years ago in America. Once we start emulating nature's way of managing the savanna ecosystem, which is the highest production ecosystem, we will start to create much more humus, which is the stable fraction of organic matter that cannot be further degraded by the action of microorganisms, and is our soil's real fertility. Recap and conclusion. Number one, basic plant physiology tells us that the green leaf-to-stem ratio determines the energy available for growth and to create energy reserves in crown and roots. Two, grazing selectively means that most of the green leaves will be grazed off, while the stems will remain attached to the crown and roots consuming energy, lowering the vigor of the regrowth. Three, grazing selectively, our livestock will have to return faster to regraze a certain paddock, which can lead to overgrazing at the high stocking rates when growing conditions slow down your grass growth. Four, we cannot recruit seedlings of our best forage species under a selective grazing program at high stocking rates, as the livestock will pull the little seedlings out of the ground, roots and all, creating bare soil where invasive species can establish. Under the total grazing program, we stockpile large areas, which is where this recruiting of seedlings of our best forage species allows them to establish with deep and strong roots. 5, by implementing the total grazing program in your ranch, you will protect your land from wildfires and enhance wildlife habitat. 6, by stockpiling grass in area as standing hay, you will save around $200 to $300 per cow per year on hay costs. And that will be in lieu of migrating. 7, I teach the total grazing program and the adapted genetics with selection guidelines in online courses so that you can get the best results faster. Plants with fat, deep roots will give us fat, high humus soils, which will lead to better nutrition for our livestock, which will also be fat. And if we do it right, will result in a fat wallet. Well, friends, I hope you like this podcast and you can put it into practice. Thank you all. And until next time, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube, or join us for the weekly email at www.rwranching.com/join. Have a great day.